What up? Daniel Augustin here with episode 5 of Multi-Hyphenate AF. Tonight's episode is going to be all about how Actors Access has become the Craigslist of the TV and film industry. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, I want to start off by saying I appreciate you for tuning in to my channel, and I would appreciate you even more if you decided to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to start off by talking about why this is the topic for the episode. I made comments on Twitter, X, and Thread, which, you know, the social platform connected to Instagram. I don't use it that much, but there were a ton of responses to the comments that I made. And so I saw that this is something that a lot of people felt triggered by, emotional by. And I saw that I wasn't the only one. I knew that I had to talk about this. All right, so last night or 2 nights ago, I was on Actors Access because during this time, it's been now a year and a half really since I have booked any work that is SAG-based work. Everything that I've been doing has been independent, whether I'm editing something or whether I got offered to do like a feature film or a short film, right? I did do one short film that was a SAG film, but it was a very ultra low budget film. Regardless though, that was something that I booked through Instagram. There was somebody that was doing something on Instagram. They were looking for actors and I saw that they were looking and I reached out, right? So here's the deal though. 2 nights ago, I'm on Actors Access. I'm with SAG. So, you know, I think it's just $50 to $60 for the year. I'm not paying per month. I make that one-time payment and then I don't really notice anything else. I don't pay per submission. That can in some ways keep Actors Access from feeling like it's this annoying subscription that you got to deal with. But a couple nights ago when I was on there, and I was on there like I was saying because I haven't really worked, so I'm diversifying my portfolio. Yes, I have a voiceover reel.
Dribbling down the lane between 2 defenders, oh my!
I have clips of me doing this, singing.
Let's make a movie.
But there was a time when I used to be able to go on Actors Access and I used to genuinely be able to find like really good roles. I used to be able to find, I won't say really good, but pretty good roles that I can now book and then put on my resume and in my reel. And there are roles that I empowered myself with because I found it and didn't have to wait on an agent who wasn't sending it to me. Actors Access is essentially a portfolio platform, a platform where casting directors can find what they're looking for, a platform where agents can organize who they have on their roster. But there are 2 forms to Actors Access. There's Actors Access and then there's breakdown services. Back in like 2015, 2016, 2017, back in the day when I first got on Actors Access, essentially, casting directors used to put projects out on Actors Access. But around some time, I don't know when, breakdown services really got a hold of some of the good stuff that would get on Actors Access, and casting directors stopped farming for certain roles via Actors Access, and they'd send those roles to agents. And now agents would decide which of those roles that they would send to their clients. That's a problem because in that time when I was getting those roles, I was able to find co-star work. I was able to find recurring co-star work. I remember the first time I booked a recurring co-star, I got paid really well. Sometimes like $4,000 or $5,000 a week on one job. And I'm working that job for 6, 7, 8 weeks. And sometimes that just would end up happening, you know, but I booked that on my own, which can be life-changing depending on where you are in your career, whatever time. But the fact that now casting directors are specifically sending those co-stars, meaty co-stars sometimes. Sometimes it's a one-liner, but sometimes they're meaty co-star roles. And they're sending it to agents. Agents are all deciding what they want to do with it. And the only time I see casting directors actually putting out roles on Actors Access is when the role is a role that is terribly hard to find now. Roles that are like for a person that is, let's say, in a wheelchair, for a person that is, let's say, deaf, for a person that has certain types of disabilities that agents don't really want to bother themselves with. So now the casting director knows that's what I'll go on there and look for. I believe the reason why that's unacceptable is the pay-to-play aspect of this is far too aggressive, and it genuinely pushes actors out aspiring actors. It pushes them out. I was able to afford what I needed to do the other night, but it wasn't until I was done doing what I was doing that I noticed that I had just spent like $80 to update my portfolio. I went on there and added a couple different clips. I added a clip of me singing.
Can I get a can I get
I added a clip of me doing a monologue.
Can't you let me live like them white men with dignity, respect?
For some of the theater work that I see on there. 2 slate shots. Daniel, Augustin, 5'9", North Hollywood, California. And the trippy part about this is the way the system is set up. So if you have multiple photos and you want to put a slate shot on each one, it's $5 each time. And they also let you know, based on the algorithm, if you put a slate shot on a certain photo, your photo will be the first one that they'll see. They're selling you on why you should do it, but they're upselling you by charging you $5 for it. If you put a clip on there, they charge you $22 per minute for the clip. If you say have a reel that you want to put on there that's 2 minutes, you're paying $44. $44 is what it costs for some people to fill up their gas tank. $44 is what it costs for some people to buy a wardrobe that they're going to use for their headshot. Last night, I added 3 clips and 2 slate shots, and I ended up spending about $70 to $80. And it was after I spent those $70 to $80 that I got frustrated, because if you watched episode 4, then you saw that on top of the fact that there are all these wildfires here in California, my engine just blew. So that's costing me $4,500. None of what's going on with the industry cares about your life or what you got going on. And I understand that, everybody's got to turn a profit. I understand it's not necessarily their responsibility to care about your life. It's like, yo, what we care about you for? We trying to run a business here. I get that. I get that completely. But it's just so inhumane that it's frustrating. I had the money to do it, which I at least can say I think I had the money. We'll see how the rest of the month goes. I'm going to figure something out. But it's not money that I feel like I should be spending on Actors Access for my portfolio when I also have casting networks. And casting networks, which if you don't know, is mostly what you're going to use for commercials. There will be some projects on there for, short films and feature films and whatnot, but mostly commercials. That's going to be about $20 to $25 a month. On top of that, I pay my reps. They get 10% each. And so depending on where you live, I've talked about this in other videos, there's also paying your taxes. Depending on where you live, there's gas prices that can be higher gas prices or lower gas prices. I was just in Atlanta. Over there, the gas prices were like $3 something. Came back to LA, gas prices $4.50, $4.70. And it all adds up, and it's just extremely frustrating. It just started to dawn on me that Actors Access has actually been a joke because of the fact that they took away those opportunities. They took away those co-stars that would be on there sometimes, those recurring co-stars that you can go on there and find for dope shows too. I booked The Resident off of Actors Access on my own, and I had a representative at the time, but she wasn't sending me nothing for The Resident. I booked Hulu's my role on Wu-Tang as Rakim off of Actors Access. My rep didn't send me that. I found that. I reached out to the casting director. I told them I was a local actor. They sent me the audition. I did it. And I ended up doing that show, flying myself out to New York to get that role. I did that, but I found that off of Actors Access. Nowadays, I would never find that on Actors Access, because nowadays I'm finding stuff on there that are like short films, student films, ultra low budget films, things that you're barely getting paid for. It's becoming Craigslist. And another reason why I say Craigslist is because every so often on Craigslist, this one job will pop up out of nowhere that's paying very well out of nowhere. So out of nowhere, sometimes you'll get an opportunity. It's so interesting that people have so much shit to say about Tyler Perry, but he's literally one of the only creators, producers who will have his stuff on Actors Access. And I don't necessarily know if it's Tyler as much as it is the casting director he goes through sometimes, Raven Drummer. I think Raven Drummer specifically will put it on Actors Access because it's a good way for her to find people. But whenever he works with Kim Coleman, she doesn't put it on there. At least I don't see Kim Coleman put the stuff on there. I could be wrong right now, but I don't think so. Pretty sure every time I see a Tyler Perry project, it's what Raven has put up there, because Kim Coleman works through the agents. Very corporate. All I'm saying is there used to be a time when the roles on Actors Access, they were worth a subscription, especially for the actor who does not have an agent, who does not have a manager. Because you can go on there and you can start finding your way into the industry, and you might book some really dope things. For those of you who don't know, Actors Access it's a casting platform. It connects actors with casting directors and agents and production teams, essentially. And, it's basically like a digital portfolio and job board. Another way I'll explain it is it's a central hub for casting opportunities. It ultimately was supposed to be this thing that leveled the playing field for actors, but it's become such a pay-for-play model. I'm going to read this portion here. It says their class action lawsuit in April 2024. Actors Access became the target of a potential class action lawsuit filed by Clarkson Law, a California-based public interest firm. The lawsuit alleges that the platform's pay-to-play model is deceptive and violates California's labor and unfair business practice laws. The legal action followed a similar lawsuit against casting networks and other casting platforms with comparable practices. 4 months prior to the lawsuit, SAG-AFTRA, the union representing actors, issued a warning to casting websites stating that it is illegal to collect fees from actors for commercial casting submissions. The thing is, Actors Access being this company that now only really thrives off of random stuff, student films, etc., there comes a point where it almost feels like you don't need it no more. Unfortunately, you kind of still do. And if you have your agent is, like I said, getting the roles off of Breakdown, and then they're sending them to you. So you have to have the site. It's just that when you go on there on your own, it's impossible really to find things where you might be able to just get yourself a cool co-star that you're able to do. Like, you don't go on there and find a co-star for Severance or for Hacks. You get those co-stars from your reps now. I got a co-star for Succession from my reps. And it might also be because casting directors don't want to deal with a bunch of actors. There's an audition that I went to where they had this poster on the wall that said, "Be grateful because you are one of the 100 or so actors who are getting seen for this role." Because casting directors, they want their day, they want their time. When self-tapes really started to hit, casting directors were selling self-tapes as an opportunity for everybody around the world to get a chance to audition for this role. But the truth of the matter is, we all got the same 24 hours. So these casting directors, you really think they want to sit around just watching 10,000 self-tapes? That is insane. Every single tape, sometimes you got a tape that's 3 minutes, you got some tapes that's 5 minutes. It sounds easy, but it, after a while, can wear a casting director out, and they'll just start to get sick of it. Unfortunately, even though I think that's the way it should go, even though it should be that way, there should probably just be casting directors and a few assistants, and everybody gets a certain amount, and everybody brings their favorites back to the table. Unfortunately, because they go the route of sending it to reps end up monopolizing opportunities. And it comes to a point now where if you don't have an agent, you're probably not really going to book TV type of work. You can always get yourself a short film off of Instagram or off Backstage or off of Actors Access. But to get yourself some work, some renowned work, some big opportunity, that's going to come by way of having an agent who likes you, an agent who's hungry, a manager who likes you, a manager who's hungry. Can't really be a manager or an agent who's just somebody who's in some company that's pretty popular and they're making salary. It's going to have to be somebody who genuinely sees you as somebody that they want to work with. And essentially, because it works this way, every single opportunity you get is going to be cut up between you, the federal government, potentially the state government, depending on where you live, and your representatives. The opportunity for you to book that role where it's just between you and the federal government and potentially the state government is just about over with, because Actors Access, beyond the fact that they're pay for play, they're just bad. They're just bad now. It's not that good. And I hate for this message to even sound like demoralizing or like there's no hope. I hate that because that's not what I wanted to do. That's not where I wanted to come at this from. I didn't want to be sitting here complaining. So what I'm going to say is this: from the aspect of being a multi-hyphenate, I think it's incredibly important that people are creating roles for themselves as well as getting roles on occasion. I think there just has to be multiple sources of incoming business, whether that be from your reps or whether that be from you, what you're doing yourselves. That is a necessity. You cannot do it any other way. Because if you're sitting around waiting on your reps, you might hear from them 5 times in an entire year. If you're somebody who is out there who you barely hear from your rep, if you're somebody who's out there, you've heard from your rep about 10, 15 times throughout the entire year, I want you to contact me. I want you to leave a comment down below or send me an email, because I think you need a consultation. I think you're somebody who needs to come up with a new game plan. And I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk to whoever is a very serious aspiring actor about where they are in their career right now and what their plans are, so that they can actually change what it is that they have and have not been getting. But there just was a time when Actors Access was genuinely an awesome personal resource for every single type of actor in the industry. Some actors don't care to book a guest star. Some actors don't care to book a series regular. They're fine booking that co-star and just being a part of the lore of that show. There were plenty of times, though, when on Actors Access you could find a series regular. My wife booked a series regular off of Actors Access, but she booked a series regular. That is insane. That money helped us out big time. That money helped us move one time, because the checks that I was making as we were trying to get into this other apartment was right there on the cusp, but we needed like an extra $10,000. Guess who had it? My wife, who booked a role on her own, had nothing to do with her reps. And the amazing thing about having been able to do that at that time was, and is, when you book those roles, you are now helping your career in a way that your reps aren't solely responsible for. And that to me was always like one of the most important things. Always, because it is my career. I got to find a way to sell myself. I got to find a way to brand myself. I don't look at my manager like you're just the only person I can depend on. I believe I am managing my career. You're helping me manage it. That's why you get 10%. And the other portion of this, the bigger portion of this, is supposed to go to me. Unfortunately, the biggest portion tends to go to the government. But I still make more than the reps, because I'm the one doing the performance and changing wardrobe and changing my look and so on and so forth. I'm where the creativity comes out of. So when I left South Florida and I was trying to get a rep in Atlanta, I had things on my resume that I had got for myself. When I left Atlanta and was coming to LA, there were things on my resume that, yes, my agent at the time helped me get, but at least half of the resume was stuff that I booked because of me. Again, like I said, I booked The Resident. I booked Hulu's Wu-Tang. I booked the Tyler Perry role. Those are 3 things that come up off the top of my mind. And I know that there was more, but those are just 3 things that I can think of that I booked off of Actors Access on my own. So before I get ready to wrap this, I'm just going to read some of the comments that some people commented, because there were a lot of people that was triggered by this. Somebody named Carrie the Legacy said, I get where you're coming from. It's already tough. Have to shell out so much just to maintain their presence on platforms like this. It feels like a barrier. The cost for updates and subscriptions really add up, and it's hard not to feel like the system is prioritizing profit over helping actors succeed. Bro, the system don't care about us succeeding. It doesn't even care. It's not here for us to succeed. The system is here for it to succeed. The system is trying to turn a profit everywhere. They talking about price gouging at the grocery store. Yeah, it's gouging everywhere. Everybody gouging. Everybody gouging. In Chicago, the mayor over there talking about he got to tax people more. He gouging. It's happening everywhere. And so Actors Access, it's just hard for us to see it like that as performers, because it's called the dream. We're chasing the dream. They don't care about the dream. They care about the fact that they need to be able to make enough money so that the website can still be around. I never fully got into that platform for some reason. After giving it a go for a short while, I just threw in the towel. I mean, in some ways, these are the kinds of clients, customers that Actors Access and other platforms would want, especially if that subscription is coming out automatically, because then you just forget and throw in the towel, and then they just getting you for that $9 every month. Now, maybe you, Telectic, you didn't forget to take it off automatic, or you never put it on automatic, and so that's not what happened. But ultimately, that can happen, though, for certain. It's so challenging, and it can feel challenging, especially if you're putting your money into something that you just don't really see. So for somebody like Telectic, that's the kind of person that, me personally, that I'd probably be trying to get them to take a look at my short film, this thing that I'm doing, and I might cast them in that or something like that. But if Telectic, if you really want to do this, you're somebody that's going to have to start locally. Start and just pop up in your friend's web series. Pop up in a short film that somebody's shooting. I can't tell you how many times I'm in somebody's web series. Here's somebody who had a different opinion. The Angela Array commented and say, so would y'all rather pay to print out headshots, make copies of your reel on DVD to send by snail mail to casting directors, drive to auditions, pay for parking, etc.? As someone who did all of those earlier in my career before we used Actors Access, I prefer the website, but you all may appreciate the old way more. I get where she's coming from. It was more costly and harder at that time. It took a lot more actions. I understand that. To her, I would say this. I am not saying that I want to print out headshots. I'm not saying that I want to get a copy of my reel on DVD. I'm not saying I want to drive to the place and do this, that, and the third. I've done all those things too. What I'm saying is the website sucks. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't really use the website on its own to find good work. I'm saying that the website is essentially now been monopolized and moved into this corner of the business, the industry world, where it's just not doing good work. And if SAG does succeed with their pay-for-play lawsuit, Actors Access will probably suck even more because they won't have the resources to do all the things that they are trying to do. There are certain resources on Actors Access that are like really helpful, but when it comes down to being an actor, it just is more holistic to be able to be an actor that doesn't have to have a rep so that you can find work. It's unfortunate that casting directors are just as much as tied into this as agents as well, and actors have no choice. Actors are very much so the bullied party in all this. You go to any acting class anywhere, and they're gonna tell you something like, "You are the CEO. You're this. You're the star. You're the reason." Taraji P. Henson had a whole meltdown speech about how
you are the prize. Don't you ever forget that. You are the talent. You are their check.
As actors, I can see why actors struggle to see themselves as the actual vehicle, as the actual star. Agents are getting paid. These companies are getting paid. And actors are doing the paying. Actors are paying Actors Access. Actors are paying casting directors, casting network. Actors are paying for acting classes. Actors are still paying, regardless of what this young lady says here. Actors are still paying for their headshots to get done. Actors are still paying to make sure that their reps are content. Sometimes you don't even get a rep unless your rep gets money that isn't even money for them. I've had a few situations where I'm getting a new rep and that rep wants money that's not theirs. It's money that I'm making on another show, and they're asking me, am I willing to give them that? Because if I'm not, they're not going to bring me on. The game is fucked up. I'm not doing this for people to feel defeated, because I won't let myself get to a defeated place. I won't. I'm doing this because it just needs to be talked about. It needs to be a discussion via the community where people can talk about the gripes, and that way we can start talking about the plays. What are we going to do about it? Because for me, what I did do about it is, okay, I joined SAG. Okay, I got the discount, so that helps. And I upgraded my portfolio, so that helped and hurt because I still had to spend money. But I did that so I can be able to potentially start booking some things on there on my own again. But ultimately, I'm also going to create my own content so that I have things that I didn't need to go to my agent for. I have things that I was able to have my hand on and handle all the way through and through from start to finish. I'll go on different websites and farm through those and see what's on those. I'll absolutely do the stuff that I see on Instagram and so on and so forth. I'll pop my head into theaters every now and again, and I'm going to find different ways. I'm going to be creative. I got my voiceover reel. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to create a way. Even when it feels bleak as hell, I'm going to create a way. A few more. Powerpuff says, completely agree. It's so annoying to pay to submit to castings, pay to change out your materials, add more materials, etc. Shani Mark, 100%. Casting networks is worse. Nick the film chick. Look, I'm crew and they do the same thing to us. Staff me up, Mandy, entertainment career, all try to charge us for nothing. I know, I gotta staff me up too. I went on Mandy too. And I paid for those all for about a good 4, 5, 6 months. And you're just barely hearing back. And it's just coming to the point of like, why am I investing in this? What the hell is going on? Casting network is even more pricey, like $200 a year. That's the truth. It's like $200 a year. And all of it is a scam. But I've listened to countless podcasts of big name stars who paid to play. Chris Evans, Michael K. Williams, it's a business and it costs to make it in this business one way or another. Either you pay for headshots and vids, or you pay to be seen by a known agent or CD in a class, or you end up at a Diddy party. Lord Jesus. No, that's facts though. That's facts. It's some people they're trying to cut corners, trying to see how they can work their way in, and they'll find themselves in all kinds of crazy places. I got stories. That's not for this episode though. I'm gonna try to respond to everybody. It's been a crazy day. There's more than this too. Listen, I'm gonna wrap this at this. As much as I am not feeling Actors Access, it's still a necessary evil. So if you want to do it in this industry, you want to make it in this industry, if you just getting started, if you feel like you've been doing it but you frustrated with your results, you gotta stay in it. You gotta stay in it. I understand if you feel like you need a break. I understand. I get all that. But if you're somebody that feels like you're ready to dig deeper, you're ready to find some results, you're ready to churn the results out where you feel like there ain't been none, hit me up on LinkedIn, hit me up in my email, hit me up in the comments, and let's come up with a plan. You gotta come up with a plan. We can't be victims to the system. There still needs to be some kind of approach to find a way to make it work for you. Despite whatever it is you're going through, there just needs to be some kind of a plan. The reason why I went on there and dealt with paying that $70 to $80 the other night is because I want to make this work. I used to make this work. I don't know what's going to happen with Actors Access. It might get better. After the lawsuit, for all we know, Actors Access will change or there will be a new site. So stay vigilant. Stay in it. Regardless of how many scars you feel like you got, regardless of how annoying it feels like it is, how helpless you might feel, stay in it. Because I damn sure be feeling that way, but I'm going to find a way. I'm going to make a way. I'm telling you right now, there ain't no way that I'm not going to make one. That's not what I'm here for. There would have been no reason for me to move out here to California. Why move to California if you're not going to make a way? The most egotistical state there is. You going to move out here? Man, New York might be a close, they go back and forth, New York and California. Stay in it, man. Stay in it. Casting networks, Actors Access, I would love for y'all to do better. I believe that there's got to be some casting directors out there that aren't just trying to be hella corporate and are absolutely looking to break people into the industry and give aspiring artists opportunities. There are a ton of people who could do with that co-star a lot more than what happens to that co-star when you send it to an agent. Because there are some agents who are getting those opportunities and they're not getting to their email quickly. There's been times where I had one agent or manager and I'm communicating with other managers. And I can see which managers are responding the quickest. I can see which ones are sending me. One manager would send me stuff on Wednesday. It's like as soon as it dropped. And then the manager I actually had send it to me on Friday. The shit due Monday. The other manager, who's not my manager, send it to me on Wednesday. So what's going on? What's going on? Why he got it first? Why you last? And so there's still so much that you can divulge from even not winning on Actors Access per se. There's still a way to dissect this and to do this. One thing that I will say, if I'm going to leave something positive and say something positive about Actors Access, there is an opportunity for actors to find agents and representatives on Actors Access. It costs too. You got to pay for that too. But essentially what happens is they get your headshot and resume and they blast that in an email to certain representatives that are in the system. And those representatives will contact you and you can set up meetings with them. So that's just one of the ways that actors can start to at least give themselves a chance to play the game. Because regardless of how I feel, regardless of what I feel like is going on Actors Access, there's still got to be some form of action that takes place. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope that what I've decided to discuss tonight resonates with most of you. I hope that I didn't just get on here and get on a soapbox and just talk and you feel helpless. Sometimes, though, I've noticed that anytime I'm cleaning up, the room has to get dirtier before I can actually make it clean. I got to clump up this side so I can get that side clear so that I can start to actually distribute things where they need to be. So in that same vein, sometimes it do got to get a little dirty. It do got to get a little emotional. It do got to feel a little helpless because you're actually on the path to finding it. You're on the path to fixing it. So yes, I'm sitting here and I'm talking shit, but that don't matter. That does not matter. What matters is I'm looking for resolutions. I am a result-oriented individual, and before I can find the result, I got to dissect the problem. And so I'm here right now dissecting the problem because I'm noticing that there is one. And as opposed to me just getting on a call and telling my agent, man, Actors Access sucks. No, I'm going to talk about it with y'all because it's some of y'all that feel that way too, based on the threads that I got back today. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you, aspiring performer who's been doing this, I hope you feel more seen. I hope you feel less like you're in it just on your own. We in this together, regardless of the fact that I can't book the role for you or with you. We're still in this together. Even though it's your role, it goes on your resume, on your IMDb. We still in this together because the reps aren't really going to talk about these things. It's one thing I come to realize is my reps talk about what they talk about, but they don't talk about things that I'm noticing per se. Those are things that I am noticing. They're not just calling me and just talking about what they're experiencing and what they feel challenged with. Nevertheless, if you got to this part of the video, I appreciate you sticking around. And like I said before, I would appreciate it so much more if you decided to subscribe. Hit me up if you're looking for any assistance via consultation. I'm going to leave a link below so that we can make a connection. If you would like to make a connection that's more so just going back and forth via messaging, hit me on LinkedIn and let's go back and forth there. I will be as consistent as possible, but I am a schedule-based individual. There are just so many times where I cannot live and die by the phone. As you can see, there's so many messages here that I've yet to even get back to. And so we'll do it like that. Hit me, we'll chat, and we'll go from there and we'll build. I hope you take something from this, and I hope it's not helplessness. I almost hate to leave. I almost feel like I'm not doing any justice here. That it's hurting my heart right now that I feel like I'm leaving on this note. I wish there was something else I can say about how, but listen, man, just hold out hope, y'all. 2025 around March, it's gonna really pop off on Actors Access. Maybe. I hope so. If it does, I'll be one of the few people to talk about it. I'll bring that back up. I'll say something. Or we can talk about it maybe on Threads or on one of these communities, in one of these communities. But for the most part, I'm going to end this by saying, stay creative, regardless of the fact if it feels like the industry doesn't care for your creativity. Stay creative. Peace.